Welcome, viewers. Today we explore a dark tale of extreme wealth, divine wrath, and absolute ruin. Deep in the Jordan Valley, two grand cities glittered with bright gold, promising a paradise on earth. But beneath the dazzling wealth, a foul darkness festered, rotting the very souls of all its citizens. The cries of the oppressed echoed to the heavens, forcing the Almighty to send down His judgment. What unspeakable horrors did the angels find that demanded a deadly rain of hellish fire? Ancient records speak of Sodom and Gomorrah as jewels of the ancient world, blooming with endless life. Towering walls of mud brick and carved stone guarded markets overflowing with the rarest silk and spices. Wealth flowed like a mighty river, making the merchants incredibly arrogant and dangerously proud. Yet this immense prosperity bred a chilling lack of empathy for the weak and the vulnerable. Behind closed wooden doors, the elite threw lavish banquets, drowning their morals in oceans of dark wine. The streets echoed with twisted laughter and the hidden weeping of those trapped and enslaved by brutal desires. According to historical lore, the scale of their wickedness reached an absolutely terrifying peak. There was no justice to be found, as corrupt judges gleefully participated in the vile corruption. This complete moral collapse triggered a profound cosmic response from the heavens above the valley. Two heavenly messengers descended from the sky, taking the humble forms of ordinary travelers. They wore dusty cloaks and carried wooden walking sticks, hiding their blinding celestial radiance inside. As they approached the city gates, the suffocating stench of sin filled the heavy evening atmosphere. They walked quietly through the crowded plazas, observing the shocking depravity with chilling calmness. No one offered them shelter or water, violating the sacred ancient laws of desert hospitality. Everyone they passed cast predatory glances, viewing the helpless strangers as fresh meat for their games. Far away, on a lonely, windswept hill, the Patriarch Abraham gazed down at the cursed settlements. His heart ached with terrible dread, knowing his righteous nephew Lot lived right in the center of the doom. In a bold display of faith, Abraham began to negotiate with the creator of the universe. If 50 innocent souls remain within those walls, will you spare the entire city from destruction? The divine voice answered with mercy, agreeing to halt the fiery punishment for 50 good men. But Abraham knew the agonizing truth about human nature, pushing the merciful bargain even lower. 40, 30, 20, until he finally reached the desperately small number of 10 righteous souls. If only 10 pure individuals existed in Sodom, the wrathful fire from heaven would be canceled. Sadly, the grim reality on the ground proved far worse than the elderly patriarch could ever imagine. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky the color of dried blood, the travelers arrive. Lot was sitting near the city gates, desperately watching the terrifying crowds of corrupt citizens pass by. Recognizing the divine strangers, he quickly bowed down, begging them to stay safely inside his secure home. He knew too well what horrors awaited any vulnerable foreigner walking the dark streets after midnight. The angels first refused, testing his true character. But his frantic plea finally persuaded them to stay. Inside the sturdy walls of his mud brick house, Lot nervously served them a feast of unleavened bread. Yet the idea of safety shattered quickly as dark whispers rippled through the surrounding neighborhood. A deeply terrifying sound began to build outside, like a massive swarm of furious, hungry locusts. Every single man in Sodom, from the youngest boys to the oldest elders, emerged from the dark alleys. Hundreds of blazing torches cast aggressive red shadows against the walls, signaling a horrifying intent. They tightly surrounded Lot's vulnerable home, their eyes wide with unnatural, demonically fueled desire. Fists pounded relentlessly on the heavy wooden door, threatening to break it down into tiny splinters. "Bring out the men who came to you tonight!" they screamed in unison, their voices filled with venomous lust. Lot stepped outside alone, his heart pounding against his ribs, pulling the door tightly shut behind his back. He desperately pleaded with the enraged mob, begging his wicked neighbors to spare the innocent strangers. In a shocking moment of pure panic, he offered his own daughters to the violent crowd instead of his guests. But the mob fiercely rejected his wild sacrifice. Their sick obsession focused only on the outsiders. They mocked his righteousness, shoving him violently against the wall as they lunged forward to smash the hinges. The crisis became a nightmare of pure claustrophobia, with no earthly escape possible anymore. Before the wooden panels could completely splinter apart, the angels finally intervened with awful power. They reached out with glowing hands, pulling Lot back inside the house and slamming the broken door firmly shut. Instantly, a blinding surge of divine white light blasted outward, piercing through the cracks of the wooden frame. The raging men outside were struck with instant, agonizing blindness, screaming as they clutched their burning eyes. They stumbled wildly in the dirt, their aggressive dominance replaced by pathetic, groveling confusion. Even in their sightless agony, the corrupt mob blindly felt along the walls, still trying to find the entrance. If you were standing in Lot's shoes, facing a murderous crowd, would you sacrifice your family to save your guests? Inside the dimly lit room, the majestic angels shed their humble disguises, revealing their glorious true forms. "Gather your wife and your daughters immediately," they commanded, with voices that shook the earthen floor. "This entire valley is condemned, and the Lord has sent us to wipe this wretched place from the face of the earth." Lot hesitated, his mind racing as he looked at the comfortable home and the wealth he had built over the years. His sons-in-law laughed at his frantic warnings, dismissing the prophecy of doom as the joke of a madman. Time was rapidly running out, and the thick atmosphere crackled with the awful energy of destruction. As the darkest hour of the night approached, the angels grabbed Lot, his wife, and his two trembling daughters. They fiercely dragged the hesitant family out of the city limits, pushing them into the cold, empty desert. "Escape for your lives!" the divine messenger roared, his voice echoing like thunder across the barren wasteland. "Do not look back behind you, and do not stop anywhere in the valley. Flee to the mountains or you will be consumed." The family began to sprint through the darkness, their lungs burning as they scrambled over the rocky terrain. Behind them, a deadly silence fell over Sodom and Gomorrah, the calm before a giant, apocalyptic storm. Lot's wife stumbled, her expensive silk dress catching on sharp thorns, slowing her desperate escape from the deadly doom. Her mind was tortured by thoughts of the luxurious palace, the fine jewelry, and the elite status left behind. She could not accept abandoning her entire life's work, a fatal attachment to a profoundly corrupt world. Above the valley, the heavy black clouds began to swirl violently, tearing open to reveal a hellish, glowing core. A deafening roar shattered the morning air, far louder than 1,000 thunderclaps striking at the exact same time. The Lord rained down burning sulfur from the sky, a grandiose yet awful display of supreme cosmic justice. Massive orbs of blazing fire plummeted like meteors, crashing into the giant mud brick architecture. The proud walls of Sodom collapsed instantly under the intense heat. burying the wicked in flaming debris. A towering pillar of thick black smoke rose from the valley floor, visible from the distant hills where Abraham stood. The ground violently shook beneath Lot's feet as he continued to run, his face covered in soot and terrified tears. He rigidly obeyed the angelic warning, keeping his eyes locked firmly on the safety of the distant mountains. But a few steps behind him, the intense curiosity and attachment proved too strong for his weeping wife. The wild noise of destruction was truly mesmerizing, calling out to her with the seductive pull of her past life. In a tragic moment of weakness, she paused her frantic sprint, standing completely still on the dusty desert path. Ignoring the divine command, she slowly turned her head backwards to witness the dreadful fate of her beloved home. The hellish fire reflected vividly in her wide eyes, capturing the exact moment her soul gave in to doubt. Instantly, a divine curse totally paralyzed her body, freezing her blood and turning her soft skin deadly pale. Her expensive silk garments crystallized, hardening into a jagged crust as the curse rapidly took control. The curse was truly brutal and instantaneous, stripping away all humanity to leave a cold monument. She became a literal pillar of white salt, forever trapped in a pose of longing for a condemned, sinful world. Lot and his daughters did not dare to stop or mourn, pushing their exhausted bodies further into the rugged hills. They were survivors of the most horrifying display of wrath, forever haunted by the smell of burning brimstone. Ancient texts describe this event not just as history, but as a timeless warning against extreme depravity. The blazing inferno consumed absolutely everything, burning away every single inhabitant. Nothing remained of the glorious city but a desolate wasteland, choked by thick ash and extremely toxic fumes. From his vantage point, Abraham watched the thick smoke rise like a massive furnace, his heart heavy with immense grief. He knew the terrifying cost of divine justice, standing silently as a culture was totally erased. When dark corruption plagues an entire society, is deadly destruction the only way to restore peace? The sun slowly rose over the devastated region, showing a horrific landscape of charred, broken ruins. Today, the Dead Sea sits silently over the cursed ruins, its salty waters holding ancient, very dark secrets. The tale of Lot's wife remains a powerful symbol, reminding us of the deadly cost of loving a wicked world. But this awful event is just a single bloody chapter in the unfolding history of the ancient patriarchs. For Abraham, an even greater and more agonizing test of his faith is waiting just over the horizon. The miracle of life will finally bless his weary household with the birth of a long-awaited child. But this incredible joy will be brutally shattered by a divine demand that freezes his very blood. The Almighty will ask him to take a sharp blade and sacrifice his precious, deeply loved son on an altar. How could a loving God ask such a horrific act from a loyal servant who waited many years? As Lot hides in a dark cave, a broken man traumatized by the terrifying flames, the world moves forward. The memory of Sodom serves as a bloody foundation for the strict moral laws of the ancient Israelites. For generations to come, prophets will point to the charred wasteland as a fierce warning against extreme sin. Even the powerful Roman Empire would later look upon the Dead Sea with a sense of lingering, deep dread. The massive salt pillars scattered across the barren shore look exactly like cursed human figures in agony. They stand silently under the blistering desert sun, enduring the harsh winds of time without ever moving. Archaeologists today still search the dusty grounds for actual physical proof of the catastrophic blast. Scholars believe a giant exploding meteor caused the apocalyptic destruction in texts. Whether a cosmic event or a fierce divine strike, the terrifying outcome remains the exact same. The story demands that we constantly reflect on the heavy moral choices we make in our modern lives. Do we boldly stand against the dark tide of corruption, or do we gladly join the wicked celebration? Any empire that abandons the core value of human decency will quickly turn to worthless gray ash. We must carefully navigate this deeply flawed world, never losing sight of our own vulnerable conscience. The ashes of Sodom leave us with a chilling thought. Was this destruction an act of cruel vengeance, or was it a needed cleansing of absolute evil? Leave your honest thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey into history, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more.